The first teaser for Final Destination, Bloodlines, just dropped, and it delivers the kind of gruesome death the franchise is known for. One of the most iconic horror franchises that scared an entire generation is finally making a comeback after more than a decade. The first Final Destination movie dropped in 2000, introducing a clever concept that led to 4 more films with its signature form of gruesome, over-the-top deaths, and the idea that you can't escape fate. The series became a horror staple. What made Final Destination stand out was its creativity and its bold move to ditch the classic final girl or final boy trope, keeping fans on their toes with each sequel. Now, nearly 14 years later, the franchise is back with Final Destination, Bloodlines, the 6th installment, set to hit theaters in 2025. The Final Destination franchise kicked off its blockbuster run with a simple but chilling tagline: "Death cannot be cheated." That idea turned into a multi-film phenomenon, pulling in millions worldwide without relying on cheap jump scares or ghosts. Even though the series had a successful streak, it seemed like it was done for good after over a decade of silence. With each passing year, a sequel felt less likely, until March 2024, when producer Craig Perry surprised fans with an announcement. Perry confirmed that Final Destination 6, officially titled Final Destination, Bloodlines, was in production and on track for a 2025 release. While the plot is still unknown, it's safe to assume the film will stick to the core elements that made the franchise a hit. According to reports, the story will follow an 18-year-old girl named Stefanie, who has premonitions of dying in a tower accident in the 1960s. It turns out Stefanie's visions aren't actually about her. They're about her grandmother, who's been dodging death for over 50 years. But in the Final Destination universe, once you've cheated death, it's only a matter of time before it catches up. Stefanie soon realizes that her grandmother's survival didn't just spare a few lives. It extended the lifespan of everyone who was supposed to die in that disaster. Now, death isn't just coming for the survivors. It's after their entire bloodline. While Final Destination 6 will likely stick to the franchise's signature formula, this time it might finally answer a lingering question. Why do some people get these eerie premonitions in the first place? The Final Destination movies have never had a consistent returning cast, except for a few key characters. Ollie Larter's Clear Rivers showed up in the first 2 films, and Tony Todd's eerie mortician, William Bloodworth, appeared in the first, second, and 5th installments. Todd was actually the first confirmed cast member for Final Destination, Bloodlines, but sadly, he passed away in November 2024. Right now, it's unclear if he was able to complete filming, and his name isn't on the official cast list, leaving his character's fate a mystery. Despite that, the new sequel has lined up a fresh cast ready to bring the franchise's signature suspense and terror back to the big screen. The upcoming Final Destination, Bloodlines, has assembled a fresh cast, with Stargirl actress Brie Basinger, Chucky's Tao Biondi, and the 100's Richard Harmon leading the charge. Joining them are Max L.Y.D. Jones, The Friendship Games, Caitlin Santana, Owen Patrick Joyner, and Anna Lore, though their roles are still under wraps. Fans can expect this talented lineup to do whatever it takes to outrun death once again. On the production side, Spider-Man trilogy director Jon Watts is rumored to be involved. The script comes from Wicked Games writer Laurie Evans Taylor, while Freaks director Zach Lofsky and Adam B. Stein are set to helm the sequel. It's been exactly 25 years since the first Final Destination hit theaters, making the timing of this sequel even more special. With filming wrapped and no major delays, Final Destination, Bloodlines is locked in for a pre-summer release on May 16, 2025. There's even talk of a 1-week IMAX run, setting it up for a strong box office performance. Experts are optimistic about the film's success, thanks to perfect timing and the nostalgia factor. The franchise has always kept fans hooked with its unique take on horror, and even though each movie follows a similar setup, audiences love watching death's eerie and creative ways of reclaiming its victims. And let's be real, this franchise is responsible for an entire generation's fear of log trucks and gymnastics routines. By tapping into the universal fear of the inevitable, Final Destination left a lasting mark on pop culture. There's never a perfect time to bring back a horror franchise, but with the recent success of Scream and Halloween, Final Destination, Bloodlines could ride that momentum. That said, it has some big expectations to meet. Since the series is all about inventing the most outrageous and shocking deaths, Bloodlines will have to go all out to make sure fans get the terrifying spectacle they're hoping for. According to Jeffrey Reek, the creator of Final Destination, the upcoming sequel will stay true to the franchise's essence, but won't strictly follow the usual formula. The series is always focused on new groups of characters who think they've escaped death, only for it to catch up with them in the most brutal ways. However, Bloodlines is set to shake things up. Reek hinted that, while past movies have followed a familiar structure with minor tweaks, this one will be less predictable. He also teased that 18-year-old Stefanie's story will be more layered and expansive than previous installments. That doesn't mean the film will completely reinvent the franchise, but rather it will offer more explanations and depth than before. FD6 is not just going to be another kid if we set up a group of people, they cheat death, and then just death gets them. This is a true Final Destination movie, but it doesn't follow that kind of formula that we've kind of established. Bloodlines is definitely shaping up to be a true Final Destination movie at its core, but what really sets it apart is the unique twist they've added to make it stand out. Reed pointed out that fans will be hooked by the movie's fresh setup, especially since the story will have deeper layers, mainly around the practical ways to cheat death. Right now, it's unclear if this will tie into the previous films since the creators haven't confirmed anything. But with Todd returning as the mysterious mortician, there's a chance it could connect. Final Destination movies have worked well as standalone stories, which might be why the franchise has avoided getting stuck in a predictable formula. That said, maybe it's finally time to dive into the origins of those eerie premonitions. Since the Final Destination movies treat death like a thinking, calculating force that flawlessly sets up freak accidents, the new sequel should really dig into the eerie connection between the vision holders and death itself. Plus, the films have always been vague about any real weapon or loophole that could let someone cheat death for good. Every movie teases the idea that someone might actually survive or outsmart it, but in the end, no one ever does. But if Stefanie's grandmother has been dodging death for 50 years, she must have figured something out, and that could be a huge game changer for the story. In the recent trailer, in true franchise fashion, there's a sneaky nod to an Easter egg from Final Destination 2. The teaser doesn't reveal much about the plot, but it does hint at a clever callback to what could have been Alex Browning's death. Well, that's it for today. Let me know what you think in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe because we'll be covering more updates on this and other exciting upcoming movies and series. See you next time.